I'm 29, male, and I've been with my girlfriend for about 3 years. I work as a software developer, and she's in marketing. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but overall, I thought things were steady. Until they weren't. What I'm about to share flipped my world upside down and taught me some harsh truths about trust and entitlement. It started a few months ago when my girlfriend began dropping hints about wanting to take things to the next level. I'd always been clear about my stance. I wanted to get married someday, but I wasn't in a rush. I wanted to be financially stable, travel more, and just enjoy life before settling down. She, on the other hand, had a more immediate timeline. She'd occasionally joke about how we weren't getting any younger, but I didn't think much of it. One evening, she brought up the topic again. "What's the point of waiting?" she said. "We love each other, don't we? Why not start a family now?" I chuckled nervously and told her I wasn't ready for kids yet. "Maybe in a couple of years," I said. She didn't press it further, but there was an unmistakable tension in the air. Looking back, I should have seen it as a red flag. But hindsight's always 20/20, right? Fast forward to a few weeks later. Out of nowhere, she told me she was pregnant. I remember standing there, stunned. She showed me a pregnancy test, a positive result staring back at me. My brain scrambled to process everything. "We've been careful. Always." I asked her how it happened, and she shrugged, saying, "Sometimes birth control fails." I won't lie, I panicked. I wasn't ready for this kind of responsibility. I asked if she was sure, if she'd taken another test. She brushed me off, saying, "Of course I'm sure. You think I'd joke about something like this?" I spent the next few days and a daze trying to wrap my head around the situation. Meanwhile, she seemed oddly calm. Too calm. I chalked it up to her being excited while I was overwhelmed. But something about the whole thing didn't sit right with me. There were small inconsistencies in her story, like how she conveniently forgot to show me the second test she said she took. When I asked about scheduling a doctor's appointment, she said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll handle it." The turning point came when I confided in a close friend. Let's call him K. He listened carefully and then asked, "You sure she's not playing you, man?" At first, I dismissed the idea. It sounded absurd. But the seed was planted. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious I became. I decided to dig a little deeper. One evening, while she was out, I searched our bathroom for the pregnancy test she'd shown me. It wasn't there. Then I remembered the brand she used and did some quick Googling. Turns out, the exact test she'd shown me could be easily faked. There were kits online specifically for that purpose. My stomach dropped. I needed proof. The next time she mentioned the pregnancy, I told her I wanted to go with her to her first doctor's appointment. She hesitated, but eventually agreed. When the day came, she suddenly claimed she had to reschedule due to work. Another red flag. This pattern repeated a few times until I finally confronted her. "You're lying, aren't you?" I said. Her face went pale. "What are you talking about? You're not pregnant, are you?" She stammered, trying to deny it, but I wasn't letting it go. "Show me the doctor's notes. The appointment confirmation. Anything." Finally, she broke down and admitted it. She wasn't pregnant. She'd faked the whole thing. Her reasoning? "I thought it would make you commit," she said, as if that justified her actions. "You're always talking about waiting, and I was scared you'd never settle down." I was furious. Beyond furious. The betrayal cut deep, but it didn't stop there. She tried to turn it around, making herself the victim. "I only did it because I love you," she said, tears streaming down her face. I wasn't buying it. "Love isn't manipulation," I snapped. "You don't lie to someone you care about to force them into something they're not ready for." What she didn't know was that I wasn't going to let her off the hook that easily. I decided to expose her lies, but I wanted to do it in a way that would make her think twice about pulling this stunt on anyone else. The first thing I did was gather as much evidence as possible. I combed through her texts, saved screenshots of her admitting to the fake pregnancy, and even found the fake pregnancy test kit receipt in her trash. Yes, I went through the trash. It was worth it. I knew I couldn't just confront her in private. She'd already shown she wasn't above lying or manipulating the truth to save face. I needed witnesses. I reached out to her closest friends and family. Now, I know some people might think that's too far, but here's my reasoning. She wasn't just lying to me. She was trying to manipulate my entire life. If I didn't get ahead of it, she could spin the story any way she wanted. And knowing her, she'd probably paint me as the bad guy who abandoned her while pregnant. I wasn't taking any chances. The first person I called was her mom. She was shocked, of course, but also skeptical. "Are you sure?" she asked. I sent her the screenshots and pictures of the fake test. Her silence on the other end of the line told me everything I needed to know. "I'll talk to her," she finally said. "No," I replied. "I'll handle it. But I wanted you to know what's really going on before she starts spreading lies." Next, I invited her over to my place. Acting like I wanted to talk things through, she showed up with a nervous smile, probably thinking she could charm her way out of this. I didn't waste any time. "We're having a little meeting," I said as I opened the door. She looked confused until she walked in and saw her mom, her sister, my friend Kay, and even her boss sitting in my living room. "Well, what's going on?" she stammered. "An intervention," I said coldly. "You've been lying to everyone, and it stops today." Her face turned red as I laid everything out. How she faked the pregnancy, how she planned to trap me, and how she tried to manipulate everyone around her. The room was dead silent as I showed the evidence. The screenshots, the fake test kit, and her own words admitting to the lie. Her boss looked furious. "Do you have any idea how unprofessional this makes you look?" he said. "You've been calling out 4 doctor's appointments that didn't even exist." Her sister looked disgusted. "I can't believe you'd sink this low," she said. "What's wrong with you?" Her mom, on the other hand, just looked heartbroken. "Why, honey?" she whispered. "Why would you do something like this?" At first, she tried to deny it. Then she tried to play the victim. "I just wanted him to love me," she sobbed. "I thought this would bring us closer." But no one was buying it. Not after seeing the evidence. The more she tried to twist the narrative, the worse it got for her. I ended it with a firm statement. "We're done. Don't contact me again. And don't even think about trying this on someone else. I'll make sure they know who you really are." She stormed out, humiliated. But I wasn't done yet. The next step was public accountability. Now, I'm not the type to air dirty laundry online, but in this case, I made an exception. I posted a detailed but anonymous account of what happened on a local community forum where we both had mutual friends. I didn't name names, but I made it clear what she'd done. The post went viral, and people quickly figured out who it was about. Her reputation took a massive hit. People started cutting ties with her, including some of her closest friends. Her boss, who was present during the intervention, decided to let her go, citing integrity issues. Even her family distanced themselves for a while, needing time to process what she'd done. As for me, I moved on. It wasn't easy. Trusting people again felt like walking through a minefield. But I learned a valuable lesson. Love without trust is a house of cards, and manipulation is the quickest way to destroy it. In the end, she faced the full consequences of her actions. She lost her job, her social circle, and the respect of everyone who once cared about her. And honestly, she deserved it. So, moral of the story, don't let entitlement and manipulation ruin your life, or anyone else's. If you enjoyed this wild ride, hit that subscribe button. You never know when another crazy story might drop.